Well, you may remember the Global Leadership Summit that occurred several months ago over at True North Church, and Robbie King was responsible for helping bring a lot of different business leaders to enjoy a lot of the various presentations. Robbie's with Lead Augusta. How are you today?
I am great, Neil.
Wonderful.
Better than I deserve.
Well, you're a good man, and Robbie's very busy speaking, and we're going to talk about a customer service seminar that he has coming up in November. But he's also one of the presenters for our Fall Expo Culture Shift coming up October 28th in downtown Augusta. And I love the title of your breakout session. Please share.
Well, we've got we're introducing kind of a new culture training, I would say, and we call it the 4 Corners of 5-Star Culture.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's it. I would, I'd also just, if I can take a moment, Neil, to thank you for having me here today, and also for putting this together, because I think what you're doing, it is so timely. And for those who don't know Neil, he's my friend who all he has to do is say, "Hey, Robbie, I'm thinking about," and before he fills in the blank, the answer is yes. Because I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be high quality, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well,
so
thank you.
That's a compliment. I would say it to your face, and I would say it behind your back.
Unpaid endorsement for the record there. Why don't we give our audience a few of the corners so that we want them to come to the expo and see you kind of live. But what would you say are 2 of the more important pillars, if you will?
Well, and I think we can even back up and say that culture right now, it's a buzzword, but it is so extremely important. And I look at all the problems we have, and we have plenty. We've got a labor shortage. We've got a supply chain problem. We've got political, you name it, we've got a lot of problems right now. And what I always try to do is boil things down into something simple. So I think a lot of the problems we have aren't really the problem as much as they are the result of the problem. The problem being a culture problem. And I think that's what we're seeing in the current, whether you're looking at the workforce or the political arenas or, all these things. So I think what you're doing here is a great timing. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to hear the speakers that you've put together. There's some amazing speakers there, and I can't wait to be there and hear it myself.
Well, and I'm excited because you've actually crafted this. This is a fairly new workshop for you that you've put together. Is that right?
It is, and it's not all new in the way of curriculum as much as it is the pieces fit together and really a great puzzle. And let me give you an example. So let's talk about one of the corners. And when you think about this, think about a square, and we're painting 4 corners.
Right.
And those are the foundations, and they're basically non-negotiable. You've got to have these before you can move forward. So one of the corners is what we call values. And so many times, and I'm going to give you an example of this in a minute, but so many times, we bring our personal values to work, and that's part of the culture. But most of the time, we don't necessarily know what those personal values are of our employees. So here's an example. Let's say that one of your primary personal values, Neil, is honesty. That's kind of a non-negotiable for you.
Sure.
Honesty, which is a good one. But let's say that as your employer, I ask you to do some things that may or may not be totally honest when you're talking about something. It may not be a lie, but it may not be the truth. So if I put you in that position, you are not going to stay. You're not going to be happy. You are not going to be engaged, and you're going to want to find something else to do.
Well, I know exactly what you mean because I've felt that internal struggle or an angst, and I actually had to resign from a situation before I did Augusta Business Daily, and I always think of, some things are not for sale, and your values, your integrity, that's one of those things.
Exactly. And we all have certain personal values. Yours would not be the same as mine, and ours would not be the same as someone else's. So it's important to know what those are. And that was kind of an extreme example. Let me give you a different one.
Mm-hmm.
And this will give you an idea of what knowing those values can give you such an advantage in creating that culture for each individual. Let's say that one of your top values is family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know it is.
Sure.
So it's important for you to spend time in the evenings, on the weekends with your family, going to games, maybe just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I, as your employer, begin asking you to do some extra work that's going to cause you to have to stay late,
Sure.
maybe work on some Saturdays when you're not going to be able to spend that time with the kids, then that's going to cause a resentment for your job. Now, if I don't know that, I don't know that, right?
Right.
So if I do know that, then I still may need you to work those extra hours in the afternoons or evenings or weekends, but I can have a conversation and say, Neil, I need you to do this. I know family's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
How can we work this out so that I can give you plenty of time to spend with your family and still get this work done?
And the employee might say, well, my son has a soccer game at 3:30 next Tuesday. May I go to that?
Exactly.
And maybe that's a compromise.
And now, instead of creating that animosity about your job, now I've shown you that I care about your values and that we as a company want to accommodate those.
Sure. I'm guilty of this. I have to think about when I text or email, text especially, because that can create some resentment because it's almost an invasion of your space in a way. So someone was kind enough to tell me, I don't answer texts after such and such time.
Well, and that's and once you know that, you respect it and you win. So a lot of times in some of the clients I've dealt with, they don't have any idea. And they think that it's going to be complicated to figure out what those values are. I have a system that in less than an hour, I can take your team, we can identify their top personal values in a fun and interactive way, not only your own, which you learn something about yourself, but everybody else that's on the team too, in less than an hour. And it is so valuable to know something like that.
That's outstanding. That's excellent. We're continuing to speak with Robbie King, and he'll be actually right after the morning keynote speakers. Robbie is first up. No pressure there. On our breakout session there in the main hall, Azalea Hall, and our website is abdexpo.com if you'd like to learn about all of the speakers. Any other corner you'd like to share?
Real quickly, yeah. Let me just mention, and this one's fairly obvious. I think everybody knows it, but most people struggle with it, and it's communications. And it's communicating on each person's level. And what I mean by that is, I use this as an example. I think most of the time we assume that everyone is a checker on a checkerboard. They all look the same. They all do the same thing. They all have the same personality. Whereas we should be looking at those as pieces on a chessboard, where each piece is a little bit different. It moves different, it has a different job, and a different personality. So what we can do with that is we can identify people's personality styles, their communication styles. We can develop a pretty extensive report around that, and then do a workshop so that we can teach everybody how to communicate with each other. Yes. And again, it's fun. And you see my theme comes back to fun. So one of my personal values is having fun. And I try not to do anything if it's not enjoyable.
Well, and you can also have some fun coming up in November and through the lens of technology, you'll notice on our screen we have a QR code, which will give you all the contact information for a customer service workshop Robbie is having. And Robbie, what are you most excited about in launching this workshop?
I just have a passion for customer service, for client service. I mean, it's been a part of my life for, my entire adult career, whatever that was, as I was progressing through. Customer service was always a big key. And what really motivated me to look at this was I noticed, and I think COVID had a part of this, that a lot of customer service had kind of suffered through this. And I noticed, in my personal dealings that a lot of customer service wasn't as sharp as it once was. Mm-hmm. So those two things kind of led me to create this. And I'm really excited about this one because my partner in this mm-hmm. is one of my best friends in the world, Eric Smith, mm-hmm. who owns and operates the Chick-fil-A in Grovetown.
Nice.
And
he might know a thing or two about
service. He knows
service.
A little bit about customer service.
Yeah.
So between the two of us, the idea is this is a workshop. We're not going to just talk to you for, it's about a 3-hour workshop. So we're not, we're there. We're going to, we'll go through some case studies of, what really works. We all know Disney is great customer service, and we know that the Ritz-Carlton is great. So we'll go through some examples, obviously Chick-fil-A, and then what we're going to do is we're going to break that into how can you incorporate these ideas and come up with some ideas that you can walk out with a plan, with some action items that very day and start and really optimize your own customer service.
Well, save the date on that. It's in November.
It's November 9th.
November the 9th. Okay. Just past Election Day, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
The following Tuesday.
The Tuesday after Election Day, I believe you're right.
That's right. And it'll be in West Augusta. And again, the QR code is up on the screen. Just take one of these things that we cannot live without and
put it right up there, and it'll take you to the registration.
I love that. That's outstanding. And again,
I will mention,
yeah,
and this isn't a selling thing. I'm not. It's not a pressure, but we are limiting it to 20 people.
Gotcha. For
2 reasons. One, that is, and let me give you a plug. We're using the beautiful Augusta Business Daily boardroom.
That's right.
For the workshop. And so to make sure everybody's comfortable and has plenty of space, we're limiting it to 20 people.
Sure, Fire Marshal appreciates that.
That's right.
Yeah, good.
And in addition to that, it is interactive. It is a workshop. So we want to be able to make sure that we have plenty of opportunity for everybody to participate.
Excellent. Boy, culture and customer service. I mean, it's synonymous with.
They're cousins.
They are. It's just how we be, if you will. It's just something that is critical in our personal and our professional lives. And
one thing that kind of came to my mind is a business that has good customer service has happy employees.
Right.
Happy employees are a lot more likely to stay than unhappy employees. So, it all ties in. It all goes hand in hand.
It does, definitely. Robbie, thank you again. It's great to visit with you. Appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, Neil.
Okay.